Hi everyone, today I'm going to give you my 11 tips on how to help a homesick camper. If you work at a summer camp, at some point you're going to have a homesick camper no matter how good of a counselor you are. So I'm hoping that these 11 tips will kind of help you deal with that and you're not feeling stressed or anything like that when you're in that situation. You'll feel prepared and know exactly what to do to help that camper. The first tip is to prevent homesickness before it even occurs. My biggest idea is that if a camper is having fun, it's impossible for them to be homesick. They're having too much fun. They can't focus that they're missing home or anything like that. They're too focused on doing the activity or making friends or just being crazy and things like that. So the first tip is to make sure your campers are having fun, because if they are, they're not going to be homesick. Number two is to understand that no two homesick campers are exactly the same. Each camper is coming from a different background and they might be dealing with different things. Some campers feel guilty that they're even homesick and they need to talk through that. Other campers really want your attention, so you're gonna have to balance how that might play a role in you helping them, because sometimes you don't want to give them a ton of attention, because then they're going to keep on saying that they're homesick and this also won't help. So really getting to know your campers early and figuring out how each one is, and that'll give you an idea of how to best help that camper that is feeling homesick. Number three is to recognize when homesickness might occur. Generally it occurs at night, and especially on the very first night. I actually made another video that kind of talked about how to put your campers to bed on the very first night if you guys want to look at that. But generally it's during the night that homesickness occurs. So making sure that you're recognizing that and you're ready to help if something is going to happen like that. This goes into my next tip, number 4, of making sure you have a stuffed animal ready in case you have a homesick camper. Especially with the younger kids, sometimes they just need a stuffed animal to really make them feel safe and feel like they're closer to home and things like that. For me as a counselor, I would always bring a stuffed animal with me into the cabin and have it with me. And if the camper was feeling homesick, I would tell them, like, here's my stuffed animal, like I sometimes got homesick, and here's a stuffed animal that you can use too, because like I use this and this helped me get through the night. By saying this, it really relates to the camper and makes them feel safer and feel like there's someone to relate to in the cabin and things like that, and they're not feeling scared or anything like that, and they have their stuffed animal to hold and to protect them during the night. Number 5, make sure you let the camper know that it's okay to feel homesick. I know for me, I got homesick as a camper, especially as on the first night. And I would tell this to the campers that I had that were homesick, because it really made them feel like, oh, like it's not just me. It's not just me going through this or anything like that. Like my counselor, he got homesick too, and it's really okay. And this makes them feel less guilty about being homesick or waking you up or anything like that. It also gives them the strength to kind of overcome it, knowing that, wow, like I have a counselor that was homesick and now he's a counselor and things like that. And it's not the end of the world if you're feeling homesick and things like that. And let them know it's perfectly normal to feel homesick, especially on that first night or at night when they're having trouble to sleep or anything like that. Number 6, and this is a pretty big one, is that you want them to focus on activities that you're going to do tomorrow. It's okay to talk about feeling homesick and things like that, but you really don't want your focus to be on that when you're helping them. You want it to be on all the things that you're going to do tomorrow. Maybe you're going to go canoeing, or you're going to go on a hike or something like that, like build a fire, play a game. You really want to make sure that you're describing all these things that you're going to do tomorrow and say, like, I really want you here to do this and have fun with our cabin and things like that. Another thing you can do, and you can ask them questions such as, what activity you want to do tomorrow? Like, what are you excited about? And get them talking about things that they're excited about, because if they're talking about things that they're excited about, they're not going to be homesick anymore. Number 7, and this goes along with number 6, give them a goal for them to accomplish for tomorrow. You can say something like, if you get through the night, then I'll give you another snack tomorrow. And this gives them like a kind of a goal for a reason to get through the night. You use something that's a little bit more fun, such as, if you go and play this game tomorrow, then like I'll also give you a snack. Or you can say something, go make a friend and then tell me what their favorite color is, something like that, and then come back to me and tell me. And those are things that they can do tomorrow, or if they're homesick during the day, that they can go do, and it gives them something to focus on other than being homesick. And then you guys can talk about it afterwards, and it helps get their excitement levels up and things like that, and it really takes their mind off of being homesick. Number 8, and this is a fun one, is distract them by going on a secret mission of some sort. What I mean by this is that if a camper is homesick at night, you can take them out of the cabin and pretend to go on a secret mission. For me, I would take my campers out and we would sneak to the kitchen and get hot chocolate. It was completely loud, but by telling them like it wasn't allowed, it made it like more of like a stealth mission kind of thing. It made them have fun and be like, whoa, like we're not really supposed to do this or anything like that. And it was another way to distract them from being homesick and give them another activity that was pretty easy to do and have them have fun doing that. It's something like special that you two share and your camper thinks like, oh wow, my counselor is so cool and he's willing to take me and do this thing with me, and it really helps to keep them excited and take their mind off of it. Another plus of this, if you are getting hot chocolate as I did, is that you can talk about like kind of a little bit more of what's going on. You can say, are you feeling a little bit better now? Like, how are you feeling? And things like that to kind of, you took your mind off homesickness, and then you're checking back in with the camper to see how they're doing. And you drink your hot chocolate, and normally this is one of the best things that I did. And after that, they pretty much always were okay to go to sleep and get some rest. Tip number 9 is you can have them talk to an older staff member on leadership. This does 2 things. If you're really trying to help them, you might be getting tired out and you're running out of ideas of exactly what to do. And by bringing in a leadership staff, they're a leadership position for a reason. They know how to deal with difficult campers and help them in a way that keeps them at camp. And also by bringing in a leadership staff, it makes the camper feel special. Like, wow, this person that is in a leadership position lets me in for meals and does things like that. They're talking with me, and it just makes the camper feel special, makes them feel like they're important, and makes them feel excited. Like I was a leadership staff, and if another counselor brought me a homesick camper, I'd also always give them a goal and be like, I'm really happy to talk with you like that, and I'm really proud that you're here, and I'm excited that you're here. Can you please like do this for your counselor and keep trying to get some sleep during the night, and then like I'll let you in for meals first. And by giving them that goal and giving them something to look forward to in the next day, it kind of combines everything together. And that normally is another way to kind of help the camper go back to sleep. Number 10 is that you can have them write a letter home. You can do this when a camper is saying things like, I'm worried that my parents are worried about me and that I'm safe. And the camper seems to be more worried about their parents than actually staying there. For this, you can simply say, okay, let's write a letter home. And you can tell them to write about things that they've done so far, things that they're going to do, any friends that they made in the cabin. You can say like, I'll send it to them. And for this, it's the camper that's feeling like a little bit guilty about being homesick or that their parents are worried about them. And by writing a letter, it gets them to stop thinking about being homesick, and you're writing about the activities you're going to do, similar to my other tip, but you're also making the camper feel relieved that they're still in contact with their parent, even though it's not direct. This goes in my last tip, tip number 11. Make sure under no circumstance do you have the camper call home. The camper should not be talking to their parent. For 2 reasons they shouldn't talk to their parent. 1, you don't want the parent to hear the camper feeling worried, and this stresses out the parent. It makes them more concerned. And 2, by the camper hearing their parent's voice, it really makes them crash basically, and they start crying and they just want to go home even more. And basically, if they're calling home, they're already gone. Like they're not going to want to stay anymore because they just want to be back in the comfort of their own home. You can tell the camper, I'll call them and check in with them and make sure that they're okay. And you definitely can do this because a lot of parents, they sometimes have good advice of how to help their camper. You can also tell the camper, I'll call home, but I really, like your parents want you here. They put you here for a reason and they want you here. Basically, don't call home. That's the biggest thing. Those are my tips for helping a homesick camper, and I hope they help. But the biggest thing, remember, if your campers are having fun, then they really can't be homesick. So really always strive to make sure your campers are having as much fun as possible. Thank you, and hope this helps.